Welcome to the TFW podcast. That's Freakin Wrestling. 3 the hard way. Best kept secret in wrestling podcast today. Episode 125 is upon us. I'm your host, Matt, joined by my usual cohorts, co-hosts, best people in the world. What other words can I use? Right hand and right woman man, right? Would that be something like that? Like you got your right hand man, you got your left woman hand, or some to that effect.
I'm here for all of it. It's all good.
Cool peeps.
All good.
I was gonna tell
Eshaun
you mute
and
up,
Rhodesia.
but I ain't prepared. So
Oh, man, you gonna be muting up the majority of this show.
I think I'm gonna
Okay?
just miss
Even
say
if we don't have
words
to
just so
tell
I
you
don't
to.
have to, yeah.
Even when I tell you to, you gonna tell us how you doing and then just mute up. That's
I
kind of
like
how
that.
this. That's how this one's gonna go. Shout out to everybody who has listened and followed us. We appreciate you guys. Let's get all that out the way. Twitter, X, that's F&W. Instagram, that's F&W. YouTube, that's Freakin Wrestling. What else? 5 stars, comments, suggestions, anything else you got for us. We are here. It is a Sunday here in Chicagoland. It is going to be 82 degrees today. And then we drop back down into the 50s on tomorrow. So we are going to record this pod. Got some running we need to do. And then we back home. Gonna put something on the grill, probably some ribs. And enjoy outside. And then probably enjoy the sinus headache tomorrow because of the 30-degree
Exactly.
weather change. Right?
And it's tax day tomorrow too, so might as well have a headache for all the reasons. Why not, right?
Thoughts and prayers to everybody for tax day. I remember back in the day, tax day used to be fun, right? You was like, oh man, I get to get some more money. Tax day ain't that no more.
No.
Hey, I got my taxes done early for the first time in probably 10 years.
Let's go, baby.
Yep. That's been done. Everything's all good. I done paid who I had to pay. I'm fine. I'm back. I'm back. I'm flat.
Yeah.
I'm not in the green. I'm not in the red. I'm flat. Yeah. So all good.
But you'll take, right? Back
hell yeah.
Back in the day, we used to, oh man, taxes, what you doing with your taxes? Oh man, I'm buying this, I'm buying that. Now, yeah, that's not it anymore. But all good. Right? All good. Let's start with I want to start, of course, with SmackDown, and I want to start with Bloodline conversation. How can we not? How can we not start with Bloodline? And it looks like what we kind of thought was going to happen is going to happen. Some form of Bloodline 2.0 or new Bloodline or something is happening. My only thing, watching Friday, Solo, love the wins and losses matter. I love that because that is true. Heyman basically cuts a uber babyface promo just saying like, hey, Cody did it. You know, like he wasn't prepared at 39. We were. He was more prepared than us at 40. No excuses. He's the champion. And then Solo getting into his bag talking about there's consequences to losing, right? And changes need to be made. Solo, you haven't won a match since you beat John Cena like 5 months ago. Where is this coming from? Like, does Solo not know we know live event results? he ain't won a match in months. I mean, my man is 0 for like 68 for the last 92 days. Like, who puts you in that position to say wins and losses matter and changes need to be made? So that was that part. I was just like, okay, that's interesting. But we get the debut of Tama Tonga that looked like $1 million. You've been on Tama for a long time in NJPW. Wishing he would came to WWE. So we knew he had signed. We also know Jacob Fatu had signed, but we didn't know he was going to debut on SmackDown. And that's one of the things I really loved about that segment. It was like smack dab in the middle of the show, and they didn't show their hand at all. You know, typically when you got like a big segment like that, it's, you know, on Monday, hey, how is the Bloodline going to react? You know, tune in to see what they say. It was none of that. It was kind of just like, watch the show and catch it when you catch it. So, E, I'll ask you first, because like I said, you've been on Tama. How'd you think he looked? How'd you think he came across? And good for him. I'm happy. The Detroit crowd responded very favorably. I'm guessing they must have started holy shit chants because they bleeped the audio for like 10 seconds. But that's a big deal. I don't think he's ever worked in Detroit that I can remember. So for the crowd to either know who he was or know what he signified to give that response makes it a much bigger deal for people at home than if he would have came out to crickets.
Yeah, they definitely reacted. So I'm thinking they had to know who he was. You know, we're from the D. It's a smart crowd, very respectable crowd. So they definitely respect his work from New Japan. And as you said, a big time a fan. You know, I thought about something. I don't think we talked about it, but you know, Matt and I, we met God, Tom and his brother at the first WrestleCade, and really cool guys, man. And I was more so marking out for the dad Haku because he was a big deal with me. I love Haku. I haven't told him, I met him twice, and I said, like, man, it's a dang shame that you weren't world champion. But back then, they ain't just hand him out. Like, you just didn't get a reign. But he just was fierce. He played the part. He looked the part. I thought he was phenomenal. But I told Tom, I was like, hey, man, I love you. Like, right. I kind of left it at that. I mean, I love your work. Right. But he kept it moving. Like, I was like, that's after it happened. I'm like, that sounds kind of awkward. I hope they didn't think I was one of them type of dudes, but I meant I love your work. And, you know, digging into some more information when he debuted, man, I didn't know. Well, of course we didn't know. Right. But back in 2016, 2017, when Finn and the Good Brothers and them was coming up, they actually were in talks with Tama to come then. And he declined. He wanted to stay in Japan, family obligation or something that nature. And then we thought he's coming, in 21, but then we had that hiring freeze because when Dirty Vince decided to come back in the company, they had to decide what they were going to do. So I'm glad we got him now. To answer your question, he looked phenomenal. He looked great. Haircut, he must got one of them Detroit fades. They had the fade lined up for him. He looked like $1 million coming out there, man. I think that was an impressive debut. And what a debut it was, man. Like, I thought for a moment the same thing about the wins and losses matter, because they do. Like, but man, you've been losing almost to everybody, right? You the guy they put in front to lose before they get to the big guy. And ever since then, he lost. But you know, I get it, because you know what? In some way, because this is how I explain it in my mind, because we always add extra story that hasn't presented itself as fans, right? Maybe he just means when you're at the top, like, right, your wins and losses matter, because he's being thrown in situations that he wouldn't put himself in, right? So maybe if he was leading or had a different leader, he would have been put in those type of positions to where he wouldn't be prepared for a certain event and he will lose like that. I don't know, but I loved every moment of it. I think it kind of, at the end, I thought like, hey, where's this lead for Roman? Because, you know, Paul Heyman, he went to grab the phone to say, call Roman, and Solo smacked that phone out of his hands. And then he ain't to smack on it. And see, this is why I feel for poor Paul, man. Because we get to CM Punk later on, but this is what I'm talking about. When you live in a world where you can put your hands on people and there's no repercussion, I would have put my hands on Solo. We would have had a knuck of your buck. He stumped on that man's phone. I mean, one thing, knocking it out, okay, cool. But you tried to break this man's phone. He might have just got that contract. He might be on month 2 on installment billing, and he done knocked it out. He might not have had Apple Care. Paul might have been too busy to get Apple Care on that phone, and now he in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
It's my last day of Apple Care.
Boom,
Sorry.
you gotta redo it.
Today,
man. So
say your piece.
So like, that was the one thing, man. But Paul too old. He can't go blow for blow. So he would have been laying there with Jimmy. So he did the right thing. He stood down, right? But Paul seemed like he didn't know what was happening. Like, right? And even as they were exiting the ring, you know, Solo was telling him, like, come on. Like, right? So obviously, whatever the new plans are for the Bloodline, that Paul is included in those plans. And it seems that Jimmy obviously was not. So I'm very, very interested to see where we go from here.
When Solo first said wins and losses matter, when he first said that, actually, let me rewind just a little bit. Since Roman lost his title, I feel completely disconnected to wrestling. I didn't watch any Dynamite this week. I didn't watch any of that backstage that happened at All Out. I have been like not really on Twitter, even more than not really being on Twitter. Like, I've been completely out of it. So I think I'm starting to get back into it in the field. I did watch SmackDown.
Is it depression or is it denial, would you say?
Probably a combination of both.
A little bit
because
both?
there's no doubt that Cody should have won for sure. but it's still, so that's where the denial is at. But the depression is because that chapter of the bloodline is done. But again, now we have this. We have Solo. So now let's go back to Friday. Solo said wins and losses matter. So the very first thing I thought of was Roman losing. So when he went to go attack Jimmy, I'm like, okay, well then that makes sense, right? Because Jimmy lost too. Yep, I got that. And every single time they talked throughout the whole thread of the show, they had mentioned about on the word of the tribal chief.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to think Solo first words was wins and losses matters. So then to me, who is the tribal chief? Is that now in question? And that's all I kept taking back from it. Or is it Solo?
Is it Solo?
That's what I'm saying.
Or is it The Rock? The Rock said he come back challenging for the Undisputed Championship and look good in the shoulder. Is this the start of the story with the Rock and Roman, right?
I didn't even think about Rock. I only thought about Solo because when Tama saw Heyman backstage in front of the locker room, when he said orders from the tribal chief.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know Roman didn't order that.
Yep.
And Paul don't even want to be with them, but it looks like we gonna get a Paul Heyman in the cage match, custody for Paul Heyman, because you know Roman wants Heyman. Solo was like, no, dude, you're with us.
Yep. Yes, Solo grabbed him and said, come on.
So yeah, it could be The Rock. That's a good one. Yeah, I just took it as like, oh, okay, it's Solo now, and Solo's taking that position.
But we still don't really know. We really don't know, though. You know, so I guess the wins and losses matters. Maybe Rock would be the only person in that whole thing that didn't lose. He actually won his match, but you had one match in 10 years. Yep. But so that's not the same. But so to me, I'm like, okay, I got my bloodline fixed.
Hostile takeover.
I got my in every way, on the board, and in talent and on the show. But I'm still hurt. So I'm excited. When I saw Tama, I was like, when he first came out in his hoodie, I'm like, I wonder how many people actually thought that was Roman. And I know Matt and I had a quick conversation on it. And I'm telling you, I think there was a segment of people who probably thought that was Roman. Would it make sense? Who knows? Because again, with the whole bloodline story, it's almost like, okay, what you going to tell us now? We're just along for the ride. But for a minute, not even a minute, for a millisecond, I'm like, could that be Roman? I just knew he was a little shorter than what Roman is. So I'm like, well, it couldn't be Roman. It wouldn't make any sense. But that video, we saw Roman back at the gym working hard. Didn't say one word, but he's in the gym cooking. I just want to see him back on my screen.
For us to be able to see a face Roman with face Usos, that is going to be when they like that moment, either the hug or the handshake. You know what I'm saying? That moment that we get with them, that's going to be one of those.
And that's what I thought about when it's happening. I'm like, all right,
yeah, man.
So Jimmy got taken out, like, and you already know that Jay is going to open his arms
absolutely
to Jimmy,
yep.
Right?
Twin.
And it's going to be back together for them. It's just a matter of how long Jimmy's going to sell that injury. But I immediately thought like, okay, this is how we going to start this new Rock and Roman feud. And I think they're going to take and it's perfect because they can take their time with it, right? Because Rock is on the movie sets, he on the board calling shots, and he ain't got to be there to do it, right? Like, right. And I think it's a great kind of like murder mystery type thing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't like, cause I don't think they're going to disclose who the new head of the table is. Right. They're just going to keep it a secret to keep us guessing. They're going to introduce, Joseph. I'm guessing. Right. And we're going to just see this new version of the bloodline, which is going to be great because taking Jimmy out, because Jimmy doesn't have like that menacing quality to him. Right. He kind of laid into like more of a comedy kind of character. You got Solo's a killer. Tama's already coming out looking like a killer, right? Joseph Fatu, when he comes, he's going to be presented as a killer. So you got these dudes that's going to like these bloodthirsty Samoans, just out for blood on SmackDown or Raw if they get drafted there. I think it's going to be great. So I love what we could be seeing because I think somebody said that they're very excited for the next Roman Reigns run. And I will say, this isn't no shot to, you Roman fans. We had this term, Cody Crybabies. It's 2 weeks later. We still talking about Roman losing.
2
I
weeks
don't
later.
think it
2
was
weeks
Cody
later, it's a week
Crybabies.
later.
I think it's
Sir,
I think it's
what is your
Rockababies.
math doing?
It's
Cody
Rockababies.
Crybabies can't even do math right.
It's Rockababies. It's Roman
He,
babies.
he wanted to get that line off so hard, he just messed up the time frame. You could have said a week
60-second
later.
mute
sir.
up.
WrestleMania, yeah, WrestleMania was a week ago, not 2 weeks ago.
It's 2 weeks ago.
But no, I think
Hey,
that,
no, my gimmick is everything is 2-3 months ago. Like life is too fast for me, man. Yesterday was 2 weeks. Before that was a month ago. I can't keep track of nothing no more. I don't know what day it is right now, to be honest with you.
It's Sunday, man. We on Sunday. You said something there that was, so you think about like where they can go and where they're going to go with this, and they just pay attention to everything, right? Like Roman lost because he couldn't get over being turned on, like that heartbreak. When Sammy saves Roman
Ooh.
in this new run, whew, man, that's going to be another moment.
Yeah, that would be. I can see
Right,
that too.
where like the guy I turned on is coming back to help me and my family. Ooh, boy, that is.
And it's a story for that
feels.
too. It's a story.
Yes.
It's not something that can come out of luck. It's like it seemed like that was a relationship that was like Roman felt like he had to do it, right? Because it's the family, right? And Sammy felt like he had to do it, right? That was his boy. Y'all was taking him out, like, right? So I can definitely see them having their moment. I think that would be huge, and that gotta be done. Like, I don't know, it gotta be done like a pay per view or something like that, right? It just can't be a random moment on a Raw or SmackDown.
Once again, it's got to
Right.
be that where it leads up to that moment, right? It leads up to that moment because we've seen in the Triple H era that nothing ends, right? Like back in the day, like that story would have ended and then it'd be like, oh, Sammy's not going to help the bloodline. Like we're past that now. I think there's nothing that's off limits in this, and like that just goes to like just how incredible their TV is and their production is. So did y'all peep when Naomi came out? She was upset.
Well, yeah, because that's what Tiffy was talking about, though. I took that only as her responding to Tiffy.
It was not. She was upset because her husband just got his ass beat. Because she said, "I'm not in the mood right now, little girl." Tiffany didn't say nothing out of the way to where she would come out acting.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I
I'm not in the
think
mood
about it
right
like
now. But I didn't
Yes.
connect that at the time.
Yeah.
That's a good catch. Yeah.
And I
you're
did
right.
because I've always said, man, I hate when somebody loses their title or something bad happens to them when they come out for their entrance and it's like they're just the happiest person in the world.
Yeah.
So for her to, because when she first said it, I was like, damn, she's coming out kind of harsh. Like, yeah, I mean, Tiffany's a heel. Like, she ain't say nothing crazy. And I was like, oh, no. Like, she's dealing with family stuff without talking about it on the show because they're not in intertwined storylines. But it's just one of those attention to details that if you get it, if you know it, you know it. And you understand.
Great call. Yep.
Yeah,
Great
man,
call.
I thought that was fantastic. So if we got something like that, you best believe the only honorary Uso in the history of the bloodline is definitely going to be there for this face run.
You know what, Matt? So that's the great thing about what's happening on WWE TV right now. Is like, because you got to kind of pay attention. You're going to miss like those gems because I was kind of distracted in the moment, which I typically am. I multitask when I'm watching wrestling and other things. But when I do that, I miss those kind of connections, and those are huge parts of stories that are nice gems. So you got to watch that show.
Yeah.
And it's like if you see it, you see it, and you get it, and you love it even more. And if you miss it, no harm, no foul, right? Because like that did nothing for setting up her and Tiffany and setting up her and Bayley for next week.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but if you're watching, it's like, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, because when she came out, I know she looked, but I'm thinking like probably like Rhodesia, like, oh, she's because Tiffy's talking trash, whatever, and she wants her title shot, whatever the case may be. But you're absolutely right. It makes way more sense that I'm not in the mood right now, little girl, because I'm dealing with my husband who just got taken out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's high level right there, Matt. Like I said, I didn't catch that. I literally thought it was because she was irritated with Tiffy. Didn't even put those two together. But again, the world or the time of IMI, no longer. Yeah. It's like, you're not going to insult me anymore, and I'm going to put layers on top of that to make you even think even more.
Hey, y'all, think about this, though. I don't know where probably get this, but if you think about the War Games, right? Okay, they do one every year. You definitely could see, like, the Bloodline on one side of the ring, and then, like, the people that, like, so, like, the Roman
2.0
Reigns, the
or whatever,
Usos,
they're called,
right?
yeah, like
and maybe
whatever.
Sammy. Maybe you got the old bloodline, right? Sammy, the Usos, and Roman Reigns versus. I doubt The Rock will be in the ring for that, right? But you know, you got Joseph, you got Solo, you got Tama, right? Or The Rock. I'm not sure the contract status of their big tall, well, the big little brother, right? Their youngest brother, but he's actually the tallest one. Yeah, like I know he was trying. They were thinking about getting him until like the hiring freeze as well. I'm not sure what his contract status is now, but you never know. He might be on the horizon.
And then, like, too, with that, yeah, like, you don't know, like, okay, do you even want to have Rock and Roman in a match before their eventual one-on-one match? If you are okay with it, that's the move. Other thing you could think about, too, and this is what's going to be so fun about Roman's next character arc, is him and Seth has got to get cool with their both faces, right? Eventually.
Yes.
Like, he's got to put that demon in the past. And Seth has got to put that demon in the past. Both of them have got to get to a point where it is water under the bridge and I'm back with my brother. So if he calls himself, if in everything we've seen now they do is intentional. He's been calling Seth his little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth's been calling him big brother. Well, this is a family storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I need all my brothers. And that's another moment. Think about that moment. If he says that to him, I need all my brothers. Like,
we could have a whole nother in game. We could have a whole.
And that goes back to on the last part where I said that I think when it's all said and done, this chapter of it or this book, however they're going to look at it, is going to be better than the first one, because the first one was just the first chapter. And now we in the middle of the game. We were at the bottom of the third at the end of Mania 39. Maybe we were about the fifth inning, and we still got 9 to go. Bushman has sent a message. So he actually sent this before SmackDown. He said he was listening to the podcast and he wanted just like fantasy book. He's got Rock versus Cody at SummerSlam. And his whole thing is like, Rock kind of has done everything that he said he was going to do, right? He beat Cody, got his own People's Champ belt. We saw on Monday the whole thing of don't ever break my heart again. When I come back, I'm coming for you. We get the Rock versus Cody match at SummerSlam. And then that's when we get a returning face, Roman Reigns, like for the first time. We don't see Roman at all until the end of SummerSlam. He comes and actually costs The Rock the title. And Cody, of course, still wins.
Hey, real quick. That last about 10 seconds. Can you repeat that?
I was saying we get a face Roman returning at the end of SummerSlam to, either help Cody win or to show up after the match. And then that starts the Rock and Roman feud. I could see that like that Rock Cody match just seems a little too big to me for SummerSlam. And I know SummerSlam is the second biggest show of the year. And I don't know how long The Rock feels like he can wrestle for and keep his body in peak shape. But like, to me, if this seems like Cody Rock at WrestleMania 41 and then Rock Roman Mania 42.
Okay, I will be so down for that, but we are really going against Mother Time. And that's the only reason why I'm already just assuming it's Cody Rock at SummerSlam. But you're right, as far as everything that's happened, I can see that at Mania. You already know how I feel about Roman and Rock. Has to be a WrestleMania. But I just don't think that means another 2 years on everybody. I would like it, just don't think that it would work.
Yeah, it depends on how long The Rock can go. He said wrestling's in his blood. I feel like this is the time where The Rock has more I don't want to say engagement. I think this is the perfect time for him to be involved in wrestling more, right? Vince is gone. He's on the board. I think that his acting is maybe slowing down too, right? I think he's going to, do a couple movies a year, which will give him more time to do what he's doing. And the one thing about, if he does this heel run, if he can say it's in his heel run, he doesn't have to do all that bumping. He do a whole lot of crazy bumps back in the day, but he certainly doesn't have to do it right now as final boss, right? he can wrestle because like I can't think of a crazy bumps that he took in his WrestleMania 40 match. I think it's a lot of brawl stuff. He can do that. And he can.
The way that the world tells it, Undertaker. You smell Rock, right?
Oh,
You
lead
gotta
them 60-year-old men alone. Let them be.
Rock did nothing after he got Solo talking about wins and losses matter, right? So getting chokeslammed one time.
That was Superman that did it.
Whatever,
that was the Superman that did it.
Get out
that
of
was
here.
the Superman
I'm sorry
that did
to cut you off, but that's bullcrap.
Man, you disrespected Matt's idol over there and everything. But
no, Undertaker is my favorite wrestler of all time. But I'm getting back up after I get chokeslammed by him. I only got off the ground 11 inches. Come on.
Wait a minute. No, you won't, because that would be like a whole.
I'd be suing.
Yeah,
I'd be suing. Oh, my neck.
Hey, I'm getting too, man. Because like, look, hey, my sister got hurt, and I got emotional scars from witnessing.
For no reason. Like, ain't nobody's even touching you. He just flapping.
Hell yeah.
Like rock
we all getting in on that one, sister. Let me tell you. We all getting in on that one. But no, like I in a perfect world, I think The Rock continue to do what he's doing for another 3 years, at least. Like, he looks great. Like, he looks great. And The Rock has never really been known for, he's never been considered like Kenny Omega in a ring. Like, right? Mm-hmm. He's more of a storytelling guy. He's more of a promo guy. He can do what he's doing for at least another 3 years. Like, I don't know how old he is, but I think the way he looks now, right? I think he can continue that look for at least another 3 or 4 years. Like, right? So, in a perfect world, I would love to see them stretch it out. But if they only got like another year, SummerSlam is the show. It's their second biggest show. You do Cody and Rock then. And then if we're going to get Roman and Rock at Mania, boom. Right.
And just to clarify, Matt, I don't know if you had said it because you had went out there for a second. So Roman coming in, assuming we have it at SummerSlam, Rock Cody, and you mentioned Roman coming in at the end. Was there anything that we saw before that why would Roman come? Or no?
I think by that time we would have seen that The Rock's the one that's pulling the strings on this new bloodline.
Got it. Okay.
I think by that time we know, like,
we will have to, yeah.
Rock's the new tribal chief.
We'll know that when he comes back, right? So if SummerSlam match is when we're going to see him, I think leading into that match, we're definitely going to know who's behind the new bloodline.
And I think
would you guys be? Would you be not? I was about to say it's a person, not the word. Would you be disappointed if it's not Rock and it's truly Solo?
Disappointed? No. You just got to make sure that the story makes sense, which I think it will.
Because I still think Rock's involved. So, like, even if they crown Solo as the heir apparent, it's still Solo. Okay, but it's still Rock. Like, that's still going to get us to Rock and Roman. Like, however we get to Rock and Roman through this, I'm good on. But yeah, no, I would be fine with it. And actually leads us right to our guy Virginia 2-2. So we got two Devontaes that send us up. So we got Devontae, and then we got our guy Virginia, who's, I think his real name is Devontae because it's at Devontae G93. So what's up? Shout out to all the Devontaes.
Hey, Devontae.
But he asked, and this question I thought was an awesome question because you got to pause for a second and kind of really think the answer. The answer is going to seem like it's obvious, but I don't think it is. He said, who are you three most excited to have Roman feud with when he returns? Seth, Rock, or Solo? Now, of course, the common sense one you would just throw out there immediately is The Rock. But not necessarily. Because it's when he returns, who are you most excited to see him feud with? Seth, Rock, or Solo? Which one would you guys say?
Ooh. Well, right now I can't say Solo because there's just nothing there. Solo has always had his back this whole time. So it'll come down to either Seth or Rock. And the last thing we saw of the whole situation was him losing his title because he had all his attention over there to Seth. I want to say Seth,
before you answer, but we do know him and Solo are not on good terms right now because to what he talked about, Heyman's going to call Roman. He knocked his phone out, broke his phone.
True.
And he's the one that's carrying out these. And typically all this only comes from the tribal chief. So they absolutely got a beef right now. So
Roman might be paying the bill. He might be paying that installment billing bill.
It's definitely Roman's phone.
The Apple Care.
So let's go with that. But still, I would feel that Rock coming back to feud with Solo would be beneath him.
You mean Roman?
What did I say? Oh, yeah, Roman is what I'm talking about. Roman coming back.
Okay.
Solo would be a step down. I wouldn't say beneath him. That's not right to say. It'd be low, a step down. I think the Seth and Roman will happen later after all the bloodline is over. I think they'll have one final feud, which is going to be amazing. I just don't think it's time for that right now. So it would have to be Rock.
Definitely, I think the end game is with The Rock, right? Because I think we all want to see that at some point. Because we didn't get it at WrestleMania 40, and for great reason. I'm gonna go with Solo. Because for me, I think it's more about the story with those guys right now. Like, because right now we don't know where it's going. We're at the very start of it, right? But so now we're trying to fantasy book and we're trying to anticipate what may happen. But I definitely think and here's one thing we do know too is going in the story. And I'm not sure Heyman's involved. Maybe it was, but Solo never really seemed like he was like in love with Roman like the Usos kind of were. Like, right?
No,
Solo kind of, Solo had a role. He was the enforcer, and he was there from the elders, or whoever put these people in place, right, to be the enforcer for the tribal chief, right? He did it, but he gave Roman multiple looks. Like, bro.
And Roman was never comfortable with talking to him and doing him the way he did the Usos.
No, he never did. Never. He never talked to belittle like Solo like that, right? And you think about the WrestleMania 40 match. Like, right, the way Solo was kind of talking to Roman. Get your ass up. Isn't it, right? Like, right? He was almost like demanding his dude. Like, man, look, if you don't, you know what I'm saying? What you got me out here doing? Like, right? And then Roman like, I know. Like, right? So
I'm trying.
So they definitely have like there's something there with them, right? That can be explored for later on. I'm more interested in that because for me, the Triple H era, Cody time, and the Big Daddy era, it's about newness, new storylines, fresh matchups, and I think that'd be an awesome fresh matchup in story.
I'm actually with either Solo or Seth because of that. So that's why I said, like, when I saw the question, I was like, well, everybody would just say Rock. But if we're talking about what am I most excited to see, because I'm most excited to see him and Solo if we're going right into who do you think you are? Right? I've been running this and okay, whatever. But if we don't, and say by some chance Roman just doesn't come back as a full-fledged babyface, if he's going to be like a tweener or still like a heel, I don't know how you kind of like have people boo him now, but it would then be Seth. You cost me everything. We gotta take care of this once and for all. I was saying that I really felt like this feud should have happened while Roman had the title because Seth could just talk about I'm the only person that you haven't beaten. But now that's not going to work. But this can now just be that grudge match. But I think there's more money in Seth and Roman tagging together and being together as faces than it is a blow-off match from decades
That's
ago.
where I'm at. I would rather see them teaming than at odds. Not in this dynamic, because I still think there's legs for a potential Seth heel turn, right? Because there's still some I think there's still some storytelling with Cody down the line, you know, and I think another reversal with Roman as face this time and Seth as the heel will be something to talk about too. Because I think that Seth needs I don't want to say a new character, but something got to change for him.
Something's got to change.
Like he can't just come back from the injury and he just doing the same old stuff. To me,
he's better. He's better than Seth freaking Rollins. I know that may sound crazy, but anybody who knows what I mean by that, they know what I mean by that. Like that gimmick, you're kind of pigeonholed. You're pigeonholed until you're not anymore, right? But I got to come out and be maniacal and laugh and not take nothing serious until it's time for me to get serious. But I can't get serious too much because that goes away from what this character is that I'm portraying. And absolutely, like he has all the beef in the world. Take out him crying and telling, Drew, you fucking, deserve it. Cody, I had your back. I lost my championship. You won your championship. All right, man, you owe me. And I'm coming to get what's mine.
And that's why I feel like at the end of the day, when this is all the way done and Roman career is over, and I'm just putting in Roman right now, I can see him wrapping up 24, 25, 25 and a half, talking about the year, in the Bloodline thing. I think Roman will be done, like at the highest level. Some people say he's done now, but I'm saying it before like he becomes like a legacy act. I think the final is going to end with him and Seth. If Seth is still with the company, I think that is going to be kind of his last hurrah of the big feud. And I just don't want to see that now, because I can see Cody and Seth at some point going at it because of what exactly you just said. Hey, where were you at?
That's interesting. I kind of like at this point, I think the last two WrestleManias were like some of the biggest ones ever, right? And it's Cody and Roman. Like, I don't want to see them next year, but at some point they got to run that back, right?
You want Roman and Cody?
Yeah, at some point. I mean, because right now you think about it, they've only wrestled 3 times with the tag team, but take out singles matches, they're even.
Yeah,
like somebody got to have a tiebreaker at some point.
1-1, and both matches were tremendous.
Yeah. And what if this next match, whenever it happens, right? Like, look, no interference. Me and you 1-on-1. No bloodline.
That we've never gotten.
A lumberjack match?
No bloodline. No, Undertaker doing a halfway choke slam that Rhodesia's down about. You know what I'm saying? Just me and you 1-on-1.
Off the ground.
You know what I'm saying? Winner takes all. Who's better? Like, that's the story they can tell.
You know what? I don't know if you saw it, E, but like the fight last night, when you talking about in the middle of the ring, the BMF title, we had Gaethje and Holloway. Last 10 seconds. All right, let's go in the middle of the ring, and we just gonna throw down, see who's the best. No, nothing else. No other interference. Let's just go. That's what I thought about when you just said that. And anybody who saw that fight last night, they did win, Matt, right? Fight of the night.
They would have to have. I didn't see who won the bonus, but they would have had to have. Like, that was for me the best finish I've ever seen in UFC history. E, I told Rhodesia and Matt, I was like, man, Triple H is cooking up this creative today, because like some of the stuff that was happening, I was like, all right, I see what's going on. They taking this TKO thing a little too personal and too serious, because H got his hands all over these creative decisions. Creative, boy. Speaking of creative too, it looks like we're getting what I've been trying to manifest for a while now, and that is Bianca and Jade as a tag team. And like, I was like, okay, is it a one-off? I couldn't tell until Corey Graves said something to the fact of this tag team is going to be running through the division or something like that. I was like, okay, cool.
They stamped it. You must have didn't see the digital interview.
Oh, no, what they say?
What I say, digital interview.
You said you talking about online, right? I know what you meant.
They're exclusive online. So they stamped it. They said it. Like, they was like, could we be seeing you guys join forces? And they looked at each other like, I think I like the sound of that. New tag team champs.
Hell yeah.
But Bianca was like, I've never been a tag team champ before. And Jay was like, hey, look, I've never had a sister like this have my back before. They said that they felt like they had a natural chemistry, and they're ready to explore that more, win the tag team titles. So that's what the next thing is for them, is tag team gold. I thought about you when I saw it. I'm like, man, Matt been talking about it. I meant to send you a text about it, but I don't know why I didn't.
Man. And it's because, like, one, it's fresh for Bianca, because what you could worry about if like Bianca kind of getting that Charlotte territory, where like, okay, if you're not the champion, then like, what are we doing? Kind of a thing. Right. So then it's like, all right, we'll put the belt back on her. Then that's how we get to like 14-time champion, like 2 years. Like, so she shouldn't have the main title on her because she's had it for a year. But then it's like, okay, well, what else do you give her that's super important and is fresh and is new? Tag team belts, perfect. And then you got Jade, so she can still learn and come along. And like, I just love their like chemistry. Like, I don't think we've ever seen two female wrestlers, and I'm only saying female because maybe we have with guys, where like they big each other up so much, like after the match. Like, if you don't know, like if you don't know what that means, if you don't know what that energy is, you could say like, oh, they're beefing out, like, or they're trying to compare each other to themselves, and like, oh, that's going to turn in on each other really soon. No, that is just that. No, you the shit. No, you the shit. Let's do this. Like that comes from just like sports. That is a real emotion that typically you don't get on wrestling television. And like
you
so
talking about like that energy afterwards. That like when sometimes Jade looks like she's getting hype at Bianca, but it's really like
like that video we saw. I think I showed you guys. At the end when they first hooked up, and then you could see Jade was going crazy.
Yeah.
And like and Bianca was there for her. She stood there nodding. You know, and they had that little sports thing you talked about, right?
Yes.
Like that. Yeah.
Because they did on SmackDown again. So I don't think that's a gimmick. That is like just that raw emotion of like, man, we some bad mofos. You know, like who gonna touch us? Like who gonna do something with this? So
yeah, I think the first time they did it, that was organic. I think that was Jay in the moment, right? Think about it, man. Huge crowd, WrestleMania. You know, she's got a huge response. So like she was probably getting overwhelmed with emotion, right? And you know, Bianca probably was there for her. Like, yo, let's do it. So I think that's something you're going to continue to see them do. And it looks natural. It looks good. Like, yeah, I mean, the ring gear, because when they had the same gear on, like, okay, like something's brewing here. And I saw that interview. I was like, okay.
This is one of those like pairings to me that is more about the journey than the destination. We know eventually they're going to turn. Yeah. Somebody's going to turn heel. We got it.
Yep.
This ain't, but you don't put them together for that. That's going to happen after we've done everything we need to do as a tag team. We've told all those type of stories. We've broken down history as a tag team. Then let's get to, this is not like, oh, they're together just so they can work a one-on-one match at SummerSlam.
No.
And so I hope they really slow walk this. I would even be okay with them not having a WrestleMania match next year at 41. Like, that's how slow I kind of want this to go. Like, do it to where when it happens, we are as emotionally invested as we were in Cody's story or the Bloodline story. Like, give me that type of story arc with them as a tag team.
Hey, Matt, do you remember? I kind of remember. I can't think of who was in it. And I think it might have been on in NWA or WCW back in the day. But it was the same thing. It was two baby faces that were together. There's a lot of hoopla around them tag teaming. And then they finally got to the tag team match. And they didn't win it. Something happened and one of them turned. I can't exactly remember the situation, who was in it. But that thought crossed my mind after I saw that interview. I'm like, what? I would love for them to be a tag champion. What if, like, they don't win it, right? And as soon as they get that match, and it's not that old trope of, you know, Bianca or Jay accidentally hits one of them, and now all of a sudden they mad and they just throw everything out the window, right? This is one of them things to where she like, look, one of them is turned right then and there.
So who would you pick to turn heel?
That's a good question, because you know, if you look at Jade, because I almost kind of feel like, you know, Bianca's is due for a heel run, like, right? But like Jade, man, she's very braggadocious. She's very braggadocious.
Natural heel.
She's a natural
heel. Yeah, like even her entrance. I was watching her entrance on Friday, and she gets in the ring, and then the spotlight hits her, and then she flexes, and I was just like, man, if you don't like Jade, you probably hate her.
Yeah.
And not from like a racial perspective or anything personal, but just like as a, you know, maybe like who you think you are type thing. I could see, so I could see that maybe wearing thin. I can't see Bianca turning on Jade and then getting the type of sympathy on Jade. Like, Jade is not a sympathetic figure. I don't know how she could get sympathy. And that's a big piece to being a face. You got to get sympathy.
That's what's wrong with Charlotte too when she's a face. Because she's very braggadocious as a face as well. So it's hard for her to get sympathy because she's usually taller, bigger, and she's very confident. And she kind of, Jade is along the same line. So,
hey, Matt, when you saw, it's just said about Jade, if you don't like her, you probably hate her. It made me think about when Cody came out. I'm telling you, I'm still so butthurt right now because when he first came out, and he's repping he's repping his wife in her hometown. And I'm like, hurry up and get to the point that you're trying to say. Like, hurry up. I was so mad. I'm like, just come on. You did your little entrance. You had some really nice pyro like you always do. Okay, rah. You look great, fantastic. You big up your wife. All right, fine. Come on, let's go.
He's like, what's next? He's like, what's Simone's coming out here now? What we doing? What we doing? And then Matt's gonna. So I watched it on we were out, so I didn't get a chance to watch until Saturday morning. So I cut it on, and Cody gets a massive pop, right? Matt walks in the room, was like, "Did you hear those boos?" I was like, "Matt, Cody didn't get booed, dude." He's like, "Rewind it." I was like, "Matt, I'm not rewinding it because he didn't get booed." He's like, "So then what was that?" I was like, "I don't know what you thought you heard. There weren't boos, Matt." So like, y'all are two peas in the pot. Both y'all.
We didn't watch it
Walk-a-bye,
together,
baby.
so this is the first time I heard this. So
Walk-a-bye, baby.
No,
is
it's
nuts.
Roman. You got to do something with Roman. It's not The Rock. It's Roman. Is where I'm butthurt at.
I couldn't come up with it. You gotta give me next week, maybe.
Yeah,
All right,
I
got
say we
it.
got you on Wednesday. Come up with a good
Yeah.
one on Wednesday. At this point, this is where I need to apologize. So I apologize to you two on the last pod because I just knew Drew had resigned and he didn't. Both of y'all said he hadn't yet. Gotta apologize to Uncle
What
Al.
you do now?
Gotta apologize to Uncle Al. I've been talking dirty about AJ Styles for months.
This AIL. This ain't a real Uncle Al. This is AI.
Be so
One,
big. He's so
The
big.
match was great. And I still don't really like care about the character of AJ Styles. But for him just to do what he's doing at his age, that finish,
The
the
Styles
Styles class, and he'd never let Ray go into the cover. Come on, man. That's just high level. Like, so I apologize, Uncle Al, AJ Styles. My bad, man. Looks like we're gonna get him and Cody at Backlash. We know the match is gonna be tremendous. I'm excited to see them. I don't think I've ever seen them work a match together, like ever.
Were they
I know-
around together
I
at
don't
the
think
same
I
time?
know
in
they've
Japan?
never been in the same
Dustin
place
AJ
before.
worked
Okay.
in Impact, TNA. I do know that. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
Cody
they've
was
ever-
Cody's first debut was. Look, I'm not that big a fan. I know his exact date, but I remember.
I was about to say, oh, he about to give it up. I thought.
No,
I
hell
just
no.
swore he was-
I'm never going. I'm not that type of fan for anything. That have no dates of anything. But I know that Bob
We
Holly.
know 2 weeks ago, Mania.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good with time. I'm not gonna catch me on none of that. I know Bob Holly 1 year, 1 day, brought out Cody Rhodes as his tag team partner.
You said Bob Holly?
Wait. I don't think he introduced him. Yeah, Bob Holly. They were tag team
Wow.
champions. Matt,
Wait,
do you remember that?
Impact?
Did Cody wrestle Bob in his debut, and then Bob beat his tail, and then it was like a respect thing, and they formed a
It
tag
probably
team?
was because that was kind of just like the torch, right? Like you came in from another territory, you got Holly, and if you were a tag team, you got the APA
Ooh.
or the
Ooh.
Dudleys. All right, and we're gonna see
Oh.
if you real about it, and then if you make it through, cool. All right, you're on. If
And
you
think
don't,
about
Yeah.
the new school of kids. All they have to do is handle Gunther's chops. Think about what you just said there. You had to go through APA Holly.
yep.
Especially Bob. I think Bob.
You knew.
I think Bob beat his ass. Yeah, but going back to it, like, yeah, they've. I don't think they've ever touched. So
So this is gonna be tremendous. Like, and we know AJ's not gonna win, but if we can get some type of like great match, it sucks too. AJ was talking about he knows he's much closer to the end than the beginning. He said that like he basically wakes up every day in pain, and it's like, damn, we hear those stories a lot. But I mean, AJ's
Wow.
old. He doesn't look it, but he's got a lot of miles on that body.
that's the thing about, we gotta respect these wrestlers for what they
Yeah.
do, because like they are real life stuntmen. They're doing
Mhm.
all these moves, for our enjoyment, for their craft, for the love of the game.
Yep.
And they put their bodies through something. So man, I was like, he just was gone for how long was he out with that last injury?
He was off TV
Felt
at least
like-
a good 8 months, I feel like.
That's what it felt like anyway.
Man, and he's still in pain after coming back from rehab.
Maybe it's just
Wow.
years of wrestling.
Especially the way he works. Like, yep.
And he's
Did you
toned down. He's
guys
toned down a lot since he's been in WWE, though.
He has. I mean, because I think he had to.
Yeah.
He had
You
to,
can't
yeah.
work that style weekly. Hell, some of the stuff he used to do, you can't work that style monthly
Mm.
and be where you need to be.
Yeah.
He's
Did
46.
you guys see? I think Rhodesia, you missed it. Did you?
If it had anything to do with wrestling this week, yes, I missed it.
Okay, so you missed it. Did you? So E, did you notice on SmackDown? This is the second week now. This happened where the screen glitched.
No.
So it happened once, I believe, on SmackDown. It happened last week. The screen glitch, and you could take it as, oh, it was just a like a network glitch, like it was a Fox glitch. It was not. So when I saw it, because the screen was still perfect where it didn't glitch at, I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I didn't think anything more of it. Of course, somebody screen grabbed it yesterday and put it on Twitter, and the screen grab inside the glitch was "You Forgot About Us."
So that's really
And then,
Bray Wyatt like to me.
Yep. And then the Uncle Howdy X account tweeted out "Forgotten." So they're connected.
Yep.
And he said,
I know you mentioned
it. Not me, us. So I don't know if that's going to include
Alexa,
Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan with Uncle Howdy, but it's connected to Uncle Howdy.
Yeah, because I think you mentioned that they were going to continue the Uncle Howdy thing.
Yep.
And that there were plans, and I think I heard before there was plans on them. You know, originally we talked about the Wyatt Six. It was originally a plan of a group of people kind of coming behind Uncle Howdy. So I'd love to see Eric Rowan, get another run. I'd like to see them do something else with Uncle Howdy. I'm here for it. Whatever they decide to do.
Somebody said on X, because people were like, there's some people were just like, man, who wants to see Uncle Howdy without Bray? Like, nobody cares about an Uncle Howdy story. No disrespect to Bo. And somebody was like, if we allow Cody to finish his dad's story, we damn sure can allow Uncle Howdy to finish his brother's story. I was like, that's true.
For real.
It's a real thing.
That's real.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Y'all got anything else on SmackDown before I get like kind of something to wrap it and we get into the 4 Horsewomen ranking?
Nope.
Hey, real quick, right before, because I told you guys I want to take a second to talk about WWE 2K, and I don't know where to place it, so we're just going to place it now, right before you get into your 4 Horsewomen stuff here, real quick. So, I want to send shouts out to a guy named Saul on X. I commissioned him to scope and make my custom character in the game. I have been holding off on really getting deep diving into the game because I was trying to wait for the modding tools. I'm a real big modding guy. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hold off on the games, other games that came out. A game for anybody into RPGs, this game called Dragon Dormers 2. Awesome game. Baldur's Gate 3, another awesome RPG. So I've just been kind of occupying my time for that. But however, with the latest 2K update to WWE 2K24, they almost eliminated modding. They put a lot of weird encryptions, unique encryptions on multiple files that makes it very hard for us to get into the game. So it looks like it's going to on the PC, yeah, because you can't mod on consoles.
Why would they do that? What's the point of that?
So that's what we're all trying to figure out. So for me, and I don't know for instance, and hey, my homeboy Grits, I'm gonna say it's Grit because like I'll think of a Twix, right? Grits, okay. Twix. So it's gonna be
my man with the TK tattoo. He said it's a real tattoo. He
says it's a real tattoo. They're trying to get to the bottom of it. Shouts out to Rips as well on PWM mods. But to me, if you ever go on Twitter, you see a lot of guys uploading like hidden My Faction characters, hidden My Faction attires. They're uploading this up to the creation suite so anybody can download them. Hidden characters, hidden movesets, things of that nature. And for me, I've always been of like, you don't mess with people's money. Like, you don't mess with nobody's money. Like, right? And these are obviously things that, they don't want people to have for whatever reason. Right? So when you start getting someone's pocket, because WWE is just like NBA, they're trying to sell these My Faction cards. They have their own virtual currency they want you to pay for, things of that nature. And so a lot of modders, and I'm not sure if they're all modders, Grits and them, they will have to kind of deep dive and explain those things, but they've been releasing these things for free for people to consume. And it's just a matter of time when people with WWE and 2K, well, not WWE actually, with 2K and the suits was like, yo, I don't like this. I don't want you uploading none of my fashion stuff. I don't want you uploading none of my attires, right? Especially not for free when we're potentially going to try to charge people for these things. And I think that has a lot to do with it. So right now we're still kind of working on tools. Everyone's being extra quiet, trying to get this thing figured out. But I hope we do figure out something soon because back in 2K20, when 2K released that 2K20 game, Matt, that was the worst game they've ever released. It was full of glitches. It was a horrible game. It was almost unplayable for months. a lot of us went back to 2K19, and the modding community really helped rejuvenate like that game. A lot of people went back to legit purchase 2K19. So the modding community definitely helps the wrestling game. So I hope we can figure out something. We can get some kind of a even playing field with 2K. But I would encourage everyone to stop uploading like paid content. Like leave them people and their money alone. Because this is one thing, and we're gonna move on to something else. Like when you get into the modding community on the PC, a lot of people have Patreons where they have accounts where you can, commission and purchase, new characters, costumes, etc. A lot of them, they'll release it for free after a month or so of exclusivity. Okay. I might have said that word incorrectly. However, some people they keep it locked behind the paywall, and they created it. They do what they want. And they get very, very sensitive if other people upload that paid content, right? You got to have that same mindset for 2K, right? So if you don't want people uploading your content for free without your permission, you damn sure don't want to mess with a corporation's money as well, right? Because they got a lot more time, a lot more energy and manpower to stop you from doing what you're doing than you have to unlock it. So moving forward, guys, let's just keep what we do in private. Let's stop going online, showcasing and bragging about it. Let's just do what we do, which is have fun and spend our games.
That was a public service announcement from Eshaun.
I was going to ask you again what Matt was saying. Why would they even stop and block this? But it makes perfect sense because they want to be able to make the money off of people buying more. Is it VC? Or what would you call this stuff?
Yeah, VC. Yeah, you can go in there. You can just like NBA, because Chris and I used to do this. I used to spend at least about $100 on virtual currency for my main player. Because when you get your my player guy, he's like a -10 almost. I can't play a whole game with this dude. And I also don't want to grind.
And that's the issue though. Like you can't play. Like you would miss layups that you shouldn't miss, right? So now it's not even a skill of me being on the sticks. It is literally down to like my guy can't make shots, or my guy is so slow I can't cover anybody. I gotta get this VC, which is good. And we got and today's the last day of NBA regular season, so we definitely going to splice some NBA content very sporadically here or there over the next couple months, because like we're here. I haven't really watched. I didn't realize until Friday or yesterday. Boston has been dominating this season. Like I knew they were number one in the East. I knew they had the best record, but when I looked and saw that they were like 14 games better than I think it's Milwaukee, who's the second seed, I was like, oh, they are them so far. We'll see like how Tatum
they won that Dame trade for sure. They won that Dame trade for sure. Hey, and the last thing before we go to the next topic, I want to say, hey, Troy Reaver, I don't want anybody to get fired. But I hope that next week they say, hey, we have found a new position for that man within the organization, and we'll be effective immediately hiring a new general manager to get us right for next year. Detroit Pistons, let's go.
There was a article I didn't get a chance to read. I just saw the article went up. Sources with the worst season in franchise history coming to a close today. Pistons owner Tom Gores is considering sweeping changes, including hiring a president of basketball operations. So I got to read that article. But
I hope it's not Troy Reaver. Like, let him be a scout. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let that man be a scout or something like that for big men. So like, so we can hire. He does that great. He can scout some big men. He does that great. Let him be a big man scout.
They got this is the last offseason for me to like care until they turn the corner. So when you like get to that point with me, it's bad. Mm-hmm. I had season tickets to the Lions at 0-16, and I was still there for them the year after. So we got to figure it out, Pistons. We got too much of a legacy to like be a laughing stock over and over and over again. All right, y'all, it's time. And my list, I'm not even confident in my list. This was much harder than I thought. I thought it would be like a fun thing, and then I started getting stressed out a little bit. I had to like stop for a moment. And we don't have to spend a ton of time on it, but I just wanted to. When we were watching Mania, and then it was something one you said on the last pod, I was like, let's rank the 4 horsewomen. And I'm going to just do it as like right now, this week, right? So middle of April, 2024. My 4, and this could change like next week. This is really, really hard. But as of right now, I have Charlotte number 1. I have Becky number 2. I have Mercedes number 3. And I have Bayley 4th.
And again, how did you come to this conclusion?
This is my ranking of overall everything, total package. Like, how would you rank them from best? And it's not even worse. None of them are bad. But just how would you rank them? The top is the best. And that was what I came up with.
Okay. So mine's I did just my favorites because I couldn't, there was just no way for me to rank them as like best overall, because when it comes to things like personality and gimmick and such is also subjective. And so I'm like, will I be fair looking at somebody with not being biased? So I just went based off of my favorites. This might surprise y'all. Number 1 is Charlotte. Number 2 is Bayley. Number 3 is Becky. And number 4 is Sasha.
That's not surprising at all. It's after you said your favorites, that was what I would have said it would. It would have been.
Wait, you're not a Sasha fan?
She hates her.
Oh,
I wouldn't say I hate Sasha, but I mean, when I think about the 4 of them, and as far as my favorites,
she loves Cody way more than she does Mercedes.
You hate her then?
But first off, I never not liked Cody. I never not liked Cody.
You know what? His thing. If she don't like Cody, I'm interested to see who she don't like.
Oh, I didn't like Punk,
and
that was a legit. I didn't like.
Oh,
Punk.
we know you hate Punk too.
Yeah.
And she likes.
But the energy is similar.
Ooh, that's a lie. That's a goddamn lie. Don't lie on this beautiful Sunday.
Hey, so we got
don't lie on this beautiful.
So I don't think it is at all.
What is it? What is it, Rhodesia?
It's not on.
Why aren't you a fan of hers?
But when she debuted, Rhodesia had like this little. She had like Rhodesia, like she'll do like these little snide remarks sometimes, or she'll like say a little something, or she'll have like a certain type of look. She had a certain type of look when Mercedes debuted on AEW. I just sat there and I was like, man, she can't stand this woman.
You didn't even look at me when she first debuted. Your
eyes
was fixed on the TV. You didn't see me. I was behind you. I was in the kitchen.
I see it all.
You didn't see me.
You know that.
You see it all.
So what were you saying, E? What'd you say? What was your question?
What she do? What happened? What is it about her you're not a fan of? I'm curious.
so first off, I am a fan of Sasha. So let's start there. She just never did it for me. And that's so the difference, like with the Punk, I had feelings toward Punk. Like I was angry with him when he was at All In or All Out, the first Brawl Out, and he came to that presser and he was acting like a goddamn on fool. That really made me upset. So I had like legit reasons of why I didn't like Punk. But for Sasha, she never, I don't know if to me, I just never bought into her whole boss personality. And again, Mercedes is just too brand new for me. She had one match in Japan that I didn't even watch. I just saw the very end of it where she was injured. And then I haven't watched Dynamite this week. I don't know if she showed up. So I haven't watched enough of Mercedes, so I can only go off of Sasha. And then I just never really believed in her boss gimmick, like at all. It wasn't it. She's a great wrestler, but all 4 of these 4 horsewomen is called that because of their great wrestlers. But to me, I never had any kind of excitement for her. Becky, not really either. But the difference is that Becky has been around for the last 2 years. She was out having a child, but to me, that's the only reason why Becky got ahead of Sasha, because she had more matches. This is a gimmick I never had. The man gimmick I don't really care for because I'm a bit of a feminist. So just going saying that you're the man, that really bothers me. I think probably that's where I just found my root of issue with Becky. Is that because I'm a feminist? You don't have to call yourself the man. A woman is damn good enough.
That's interesting. I always kind of took it as that's what it was. It was the feminine. Like, look, Barry would say because the saying is always to be the man. Right, you got to be the man. You got to be the man, right? The top person is the man, and she said, "I'm the man. I'm the top person." Like, right? I think that's what it was. Like, it don't matter what my gender is. I'm that person. Like, right? That's what I always gotten is that she was trying to break down that gender wall by saying the man had to be an actual man to be the head. Like, to me, I think she was always saying like, no, like I'm at the head and I'm a woman. So if somebody got to be the man, it's me. That's what I've always gotten from it, which I kind of like that. And at one point in time, she was the most popular person in that company. Like, right?
Easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I always
Easily,
got from her. But for me, which I actually just did my ranking in the past 2 minutes.
Oh God. He was asking questions so he could figure out and buy the time to figure it out.
He's like, Rhodesia, tell me more. And he over there typing, looking. That's funny.
No, I already had my list by that. I actually was genuinely interested. But number one for me is Becky for the reason I just outlined.
Wow.
I felt like at one point,
wow,
she was the most popular wrestler in that company.
I get that, but you've been a little hard, but not okay. You have not really been high on her work for like the last year.
I haven't been down on her recent work. Correct. I've been down on her recent work, but I also can't deny. But like you know me, I'm a pretty objective with my opinions. Like, hey, I've been down on her, but I don't think the audience has been down on her. Like, right? So I can acknowledge that she still gets big reactions, and she's still, I would say right now behind Rhea, she's one of the top women in that division, and I think that her popularity. Like I said, because like when we talked about Mercedes in AEW, there's the women's division. I don't think there's many women in that division that kind of supersedes the division, right? Kind of like the lightweight division or like a tag team. I feel like Becky is a main eventer in that company, regardless of the division she's in. So for that very reason, I'm gonna go Becky.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go Charlotte. Cause her work has been top notch for a long time. I just feel like that Becky broke the glass that Charlotte wasn't able to. Like, I don't think that Charlotte's ever been one of the most popular. Like, she's always been one of the most respected wrestlers, but I don't think she's ever been one of like the true main event top gals in that company.
She wasn't the people's champ of women wrestling. Yeah. I could feel that. I could feel that.
But she's definitely been there. After that, I will go Sasha. I just don't think that Sasha, maybe it was creative. I don't think she was able to reach the spot that Becky or even Charlotte did. I think she was kind of right there with them. And then lastly, I think it was Bayley. I don't think that Bayley, as of yet, has accomplished any of the things that the other three has accomplished. I think her and Sasha might be closer. But just for me, I've been more of a fan of Sasha's character than Bayley as of late. We'll see what she does. She looked great on SmackDown. She looked really great on SmackDown.
And she looks comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I mean, but that speaks to just how great of a performer she is. She's comfortable as a heel, but she looks really, really comfortable as a face too. I mean, she's been both. And
like for me with Bayley, the reason why I have Bayley so high is no secret. I love what she's done. She's been the stability for women wrestling in that company for the last couple of years. But to me, she showed the most growth in her personality. She came pigtails with the Randy Savage with tassels. Would you call them tassels? Tassels. That was her gimmick. That was her. And then have to flip that upside down and become a soccer mom. Like, she just showed her range. And in the early soccer mom days, it was tough, but she kept going at it. And then she mastered being this bad person. So for me, that's why I hold her to such a high regard, because wrestling, she goes in the ring. Two, again, she showed more range in her character.
It's crazy. She's not even a soccer mom. Hey, question for you guys. Do you think that the original Bayley character would have gotten over more under Triple H's creative?
Hell yes.
Bayley could have been the next John Cena. And I don't want to say next anybody, but she could have been that type of level character, John Cena. Everybody loved Bayley. Even the adults loved Bayley.
She's one of the ones where you didn't have to do any tweaks. Now, there's a lot of back in the day, the NXT Black and Gold, where you got to tweak it a little bit, just like to get it to the main roster, to get to the global. The way Bayley was presented, she was out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, Vince didn't see it and it didn't work. But I don't think. So here's the crazy part, right? Like, I agree that to me, she was like the female Cena. But I don't think that. I think she's still as popular as she would have been, like, right now in this moment. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
she didn't have that time, and she had a really bad gimmick. when she first turned heel on the main roster, where she just came out looking uninterested and irritated more than like a bad guy as a heel. Yeah, but I think going through all that still got her at a spot right now where she's still one of the best to ever do it overall in the women's division, and she's appreciated. So I don't think it hurt her, but man, hell yeah, that was gift wrapped.
And they would have printed more money. They already print money, but they would be printing even more money if Bayley was that Bayley.
And then when she would have turned heel, the money you could have got out of that, like the emotional investment you could have got out of that. And that's why I am excited for like a lot of people. Like, of course, I'm big on Karrion Kross. Y'all know that, but I think under Triple H's vision is going to be better. There was somebody else too that I was like, oh, they're about to start cooking up. Now that we're kind of out of, who was it? I'm like, now we're out of Mania. We know this person Triple H is high on.
Is it the UK guys? I can't remember the name of their group. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. What is the name of their group?
Cash
Catch
Money
Something Society
Australians or something like that.
Cash Money Records.
New Catch Republic.
New Catch Republic. Okay.
Old school Democrats. Or whatever.
New Catch Republic.
Is that a thing? Is that a saying?
Which one?
New Catch Republic. Outside of their name of their group.
That's the name of it.
Well, the Catch Something is they do like something about wrestling. I don't know about that. Something about catch style or something like that.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to Google it too.
Catch wrestling or something.
Big E said that he basically doesn't know if he'll ever be cleared, but he feels great. So he tweeted that. So I just wanted to put that out there. So super happy that he feels good. But it's like, damn, there was a lot left. He's one that I would love to see him in the new WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just said that he feels great, but something about like the fusion isn't taken all the way or something to that effect. Kind of one of those things.
Catch wrestling is a shoot wrestling, which is what pro wrestling originally was before it turned into a work. People are ready to be giving up the business. So that's what I found out for what catch wrestling is. So there you go.
A couple of things about Big E. When people mention Big E, for a second I was thinking talking about me, right? Because that's part of my name.
This guy, man.
And I mean, it's true. We talked to Jim Ross. You met Jim Ross. We talked about it.
So funny, man.
Jim Ross knew what I was. He knew what I meant. He knew what I meant.
Jim Ross said, "Yeah, right." Damn, Jim.
Okay, I gotta elaborate on the story. I wasn't there, and our fans wasn't there. What happened?
So we met Jim Ross, and we're up there talking to him, and he's signing an autograph. Like I think before we took the picture, and he's asked like, who do you want to make out to, and he's like, E. He's like, well, I'm the real Big E though. And like Jim Ross, he was legit was like, he didn't say yeah right. Yeah. He didn't say yeah right, but it was more of like, you got to be shitting me, or it was something to that effect. Like, but
so he goes because like he goes E because I was like, hey, put E. I'm like, hey, I used to be Big E when I was a little. I used to be Big E, but when Big E came on television, I had to lose weight. I had to change my gimmick. And then Jim just goes, Jim goes, oh, I know where this is going. Huh. And they looked at Matt. They looked at me like, this guy.
Hey, he called you a naysayer, just so you know.
He sure did. He definitely called him a naysayer in his mind. That is hilarious. Shout out to the GOAT, JR, man.
I love that guy.
I remember, too, when we met him, when he just lost his wife. If you guys remember she like passed away like a week before Mania. He still made his appearances, and we went to go see him, and Rhodesia brought him a card. And I remember, he went to hug her, and he kind of like told me like, hey, I want to keep this one. I was like, oh, you like the black woman too. But there was an article, I guess he was being followed that weekend or something. There was an article that was written and actually told that story in the article. They talked about, there was a line for autographs, and there was a couple that, didn't want an autograph, didn't want a picture with him. They stood in line for like 30 minutes just to give their condolences to him. And I thought that was just really, really cool because I don't know who the person was that was following him. I didn't see anybody who was like taking notes around him or anything. I just thought that was cool. But like, it's just about being a kind person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't, because I think he even asked us, like, do we want a picture? And I think we declined, if I'm not mistaken. I think he asked us a picture or like an autograph. It's like, no, man, like, yeah, we're not here for that. Like, we just wanted to give you a card. So I don't know, like, yeah, but be good. There's just so much like toxic in the world. Like, just be a good person. That's all it comes down to. Being a good person. Kenny Omega, real quick, and then there's a couple of questions Brandon asked, and I'm trying not to be. I don't want to come across negative to AEW, so I'm really going to watch my words when we talk about like the footage from All In and things of that nature. But Kenny Omega was on a live stream. He talked about Brawl Out. And I've always said, like, if you don't like Kenny, man, like, something's up with you. Kenny said that he felt his duty was to de-escalate the situation at Brawl Out. And for him, that was making sure Larry was protected. And Larry is CM Punk's dog. So if you think about that, right? He's saying, like, as an EVP, my job is to de-escalate this, but I got to make sure that, like, everybody's good, and I got to get Larry out of here. He can't protect himself. And then he said something really interesting where he said, like, I don't even call myself old school, but like kind of old school. I feel like sometimes you just need to fight it out.
That's what he said.
Yep. And he's like, there's been times where I was at that, but then cooler heads prevailed because we talked. He's like, but I just feel like there's some situations where you just need to fight. Get it out, and then we can move on, move forward. And he made a comment basically about like, he was cool with Punk, or he is cool with Punk, but there was an outside factor, or there was a factor that everything couldn't get to where he wanted it to be to. So who knows if he was talking about the Bucks? Who knows if he was talking about Tony Khan? Who knows if he's talking about Ace Steel? Who knows? But it was just the point of him just saying, like, look, I was there to just try to protect people, try to de-escalate. Sometimes we need to fight. I just thought that was fantastic. Because
he also said that he said that he and Punk had talked. Yep. He said that he said that, and you said the outside factor thing, he mentioned that he would have talked after the Brawl Out, but the outside factors prevented it. He felt like, all right, we can talk after the fight too, but outside factors prevented them from actually having that conversation then.
So that's interesting too. That's just all code word is like, I could be cool with you, but my friends ain't cool with you, so just I gotta.
Well, also Tony made it a legal thing too, probably, right? The lawyers probably started getting involved, possibly. But Matt, in saying that, I remember there was a show where Punk and the Elite were supposed to get together, have a conversation, and then something got called off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? Like, so it seemed like this is just a issue between Punk and the Bucks, possibly, right? If Kenny said for a while, he said even now, right? He said that, hey, in his mind, they're cool.
Yep. Yeah, but that's grown man stuff. So shout out to Kenny.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kenny. So Brandon had sent us a couple of questions. We were texting. We had that point. We hadn't watched. He actually sent it on Wednesday. We were podding on Wednesday. So we didn't watch Dynamite live. So we didn't get a chance to watch Dynamite until later on in the week. But one of the things he talked about was our thoughts about the AEW footage. And I didn't say anything on X all week because I didn't have anything positive to say. If I have to be positive, I'm going to say that it indeed put more light on FTR versus the Young Bucks. But you could have done that with just a promo segment. Like I don't get the point of what they thought that was going to accomplish. It didn't make Punk look bad. It made the company look bad because you released footage that should have never been released. And this is not. And then people are like, "Oh, well, this is going to lead to Jack Perry coming back." Okay, great. Jack Perry didn't look great in that video. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand why they thought it made sense. And AEW has been doing some really good stuff. But I was really down on this last episode of Dynamite. Partly because of the footage. And like I couldn't get over it. Because the word was, this is not bait and switch. They are actually going to show the footage. And then if you take it to another step of it, and we know it wasn't in the same time frame, where Tony Khan talked about Punk had to go, I filled for my life, et cetera, et cetera. that wasn't even shown. So like it's like I get you had to. I was the one saying you got to reply. You got to say something after that Punk and Ariel Helwani interview. This wasn't the right way to do it. I don't think you sold one more ticket. I don't think you sold another pay-per-view. I don't think that show was set up to the fact of if I haven't tuned in to watch, I'm back next week. We're just sitting here talking about All In backstage, and we're not sitting here talking about their pay-per-view next Saturday or next Sunday where like Swerve is about to be crowned as new champion. We're not sitting here talking about like the possibilities of what Willow and Mercedes can look like if and when Willow wins the championship this weekend. We're sitting there talking about like stuff that like doesn't matter. I'm gonna stop there because I don't, like I said, I don't want this to just come across as like me being like uber negative, but I don't get it, man. Like I don't get it.
Man, look, we talk about it, man. We gotta give it up on this show, man. Like, right? We gotta say what it is. I don't know why you guys like to bite your tongue for AEW. Like, I don't know if it's a risk of a check we getting. Look, I don't want to work for them people. Like, I want to enjoy their product and I want them to do well because we need them to do well in the business, right? We gotta always have an alternative. People gotta have an alternative. And AEW overall is a good show. If you check out like that segment and the Will segment, and anything talking about CM Punk and the Brawl Out, it was a good show because they put on good wrestling shows. I just want them to grow. But when you look at that footage, there was nothing in that footage that, like, for instance, like Rhodesia hates CM Punk. There's nothing about that made him look worse or better or worse, right? There was no aha moments. Actually, what CM Punk described in the interview with Ariel was what we saw in that footage. Like, right, you just can't hear what's being said. He walks up, he's talking to the guy. The conversation may have been aggressive, but you don't see his Punk's face. You only see the back of him. And you see, Jack talking to him, and he's kind of doing something with his hair. He keeps brushing his hair back, whatever the case may be. And you see him kind of move to the side, and he brushes his hair again, right? And you don't know what's being said. And then at some point, Punk shoves him with one arm, shoves him with second arm. You see, Jack lunge towards him, and that's when the headlock or whatever it was got in there, and Joe came over there, broke it up real quick. You see, Punk, in the melee, kind of bump a monitor, and you see him kind of point at somebody, which is probably when he started cursing out Tony Khan. But it's still, even in this whole melee, you don't see why Punk came out, during our show. I have never been in an environment where I felt the need and I was in fear of my life. Never before. Like, you don't see any of that. Like, during this, I don't know what happened in private, right? But like, none of this is like, it's exactly as Punk described. You just don't hear the words. You don't know what was being said, like, right? But exactly what it showed. So at the end of it, all it does is, if you're a Punk fan, you're like, yeah, CM Punk, right? And we got a couple of CM Punk chants, during the show.
Sure
like
did.
So you got one of the biggest over wrestlers in the company being cheered and chanted for on your show. I don't think that did anything to help whatever FTR and the Punk and the Bucks are trying to do. I get and I appreciate them trying to work that into like their segment. But then when you got FTR coming out there, like, man, he's kind of was like all of us. Like, man, I thought we was over there. I just want to be done with the Brawl Out. I just want to be done with it. I just want us to move on. Like, right? I think that's everybody's, thing. And we're getting to Will Ospreay's as well. But so from a business perspective, you think, okay, them showing, because like AEW is, I don't know, trying to get ahead of things, right? Maybe, Tony isn't being petty, right? Maybe he's like, this is a business move. Maybe I can get some extra views by showing this footage, right? I can get some people to tune into the show, check it out. And now we got an angle. I can keep some of them. I can maybe keep some of these people tuning in from a curiosity standpoint to see this video. I can keep them, to continue to watch the show, tune in next week, maybe check out this pay-per-view match with FTR and the Bucks. Because this last Dynamite was one of the most watched Dynamites of the year for them. They had 118,000 people watching it, which is 9% up from last week. Their demo was up 30%. So the young viewers definitely tuned in this week. But over the course of the show, people started tuning out again. So from a business perspective, I mean, they got extra views, but even the video only got them, 9% gain from the previous week. Like, right?
Worth it,
This
man.
is what I tell you guys.
It wasn't worth it.
This is what I tell you guys, and you guys are jumping down my throat when I said it. This is when they need this. The kids are, I don't know where they are. This is why I said shut the F up and just wrestle. And I don't mean by just wrestle, meaning just wrestle. Focus on your own product. Focus on you. Stop worrying about, the Mark fans. Stop trying to, respond to everybody. Just focus on putting the best product that you possibly can and focus on the right things. As you said, Matt, we got Swerve potentially, becoming the first black champion. You got Mercedes coming in there. Eyes aren't on her. Eyes are on CM Punk. Eyes aren't on Will Ospreay, one of your big signings you're trying to make to be a main eventer in your company. We're talking about Triple H, and we're bringing up 40-year-old jokes about him grinding on Stephanie McMahon, right? I mean, they're focused on all the wrong things. All they need to do is focus on putting the best in-ring product that you possibly can, because at this point in time, they're cold. They're cold. And I get, there's some people saying, oh, well, WWE did this, 30 years ago. And there was a skit with, with the Nacho King and the Billionaire Ted skits.
Yep.
I remember being a kid and thinking that stuff
Gene
was lame. I remember that thinking this was lame. Like,
I enjoyed it
as a kid.
I actually enjoyed it back then. But
I thought it was
because
lame.
I was on the WWE side of it.
I thought it was,
I thought you a bigger WWF or
funny.
WCW fan? I was a bigger WWF fan. So I'm like, yeah, fight back. Fight back on old Hogan and
because for me, I didn't think they were old. Like, all of them dudes was way older than me. I'm a kid, right? So they all were old to me. So it didn't hit then. I don't think 40 years later revisiting stuff that wasn't great, or I didn't think it was that. Because here's the thing: WWE didn't take off because of those skits. No, they took off because the Attitude Era started. Because Stone Cold, started. Because The Rock was on the rise. They started off because of stories and characters, and people were getting behind that, not because of stupid sketch comedy. Like, right? People still was on the WCW and NWO, and they still were doing their thing. So for me, when I say shut up and wrestle, focus on you. Focus on you, focus on your talent, and focus on bringing engagement and maintaining these viewers that you're getting every week, because they're losing them. So what do you think about the actual
I was going to say,
Ospreay?
I thought his promo was great. Outside of the line about Triple H, I love that he responded. I'm good with that. It was just, and the line just didn't hit. Like, I didn't take it maybe as like deep as kind of you did. It was just like, oh man, I was just kind of like, when that line didn't hit, like, because
give him the line, give him the line, Matt.
The line was basically, there's some news out here that I'm running from the grind. Funny that it comes from a guy who's only in the spot he's in because he was grinding on the boss's daughter, X amount of years ago.
That's pretty good.
The rest of the promo was fantastic because he hit that line and then he went into cell mode against him and Bryan Danielson at Dynasty. So the promo, he smoked the promo except for that one line. The line doesn't work because WWE's product is incredible right now because of that guy. It'd be different if the product wasn't good and it's like you only are in your position because XYZ. And that's his wife. They have kids.
They got kids.
Yeah, like that. The line family doesn't hit because that's what you're saying is been there, kind of done that. But
he's also the popular guy right now too.
But the line does hit though. The line does hit. If I'm a person who was against WWE, I think anybody would probably say he's in this position because he is the husband of Stephanie McMahon. I don't think his trajectory in this world, he would be the CEO of WWE if he hadn't been the husband of Stephanie McMahon. Not taking anything away from him at all, but I think there is some truth in that comment that he made. Now, full transparency, I have not watched or saw anything that y'all talking about. But just hearing that line, unless you're calling it low-hanging fruit, other than that, I think that that's a legitimate comment.
Yeah, it just didn't hit. Because even what you're saying, the product's the best it's arguably ever been because of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that wasn't the case, then yes, you could say that. You just can't go with the line of you're in the spot you're in because of your wife. Like that's we're past that. That's what it is. Like, talk about something else. Like, there's other things you could have hit a dig if you wanted to hit a dig with, but that to me, that was just a one. I'm like, oh, okay, that was It didn't work, but it was a cool line. And then he went into his cell mode, which he's a great promo too. Like he is, I think that was maybe one of the worries about him is like, okay, well, can he translate to weekly TV? And so far we've gotten a resounding hell yes, he can. And then I'm thinking too, like, I wonder if he actually loses this weekend. Bryan needs like a big win because he loses all his big matches. And then like if Ospreay loses, that could be a way to kind of slow him down a little bit before we get to, I'm still going with him and Swerve at All In August. Like if he beats Bryan and it's April, they have Double or Nothing in May. I think they got a pay-per-view. But we know they got at least one in either June or July. Yeah. And then they got All In, All Out, the combo, right there, August and first week of September. I just wonder if you kind of pump his brakes a little bit.
Because you kept saying that you want Ospreay to have it in All In, right? Yeah. To at least be there, whether he is the champion or if he's winning it there, that he's
winning it there would be the money.
Got it.
That would be the money. That's like
then what you're saying. Then yeah, he shouldn't win. Well, I guess do we have enough time that if he loses against Bryan, that he can still be a big name enough to bring him to then championship contendership in just a few months, in 4 months?
I think so. Yeah, so you got Forbidden Door June 30th. Actually, and then there's not another pay-per-view after Forbidden Door until All In London. So
you have Double or Nothing.
They're going almost 2 months without a pay-per-view, but they can do, number one contender matches on Dynamite, and they can make it work.
The problem with that scenario is that I don't like Bryan. This is supposedly supposed to be his last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't really been a focus on either one of these programs. Like, right, so you got Will Ospreay, somebody you're building, and he loses to a guy who's barely on the show at this point in time. Like, I don't know. It's just,
still
it just seems
right. Like he's still. I know what you're saying, but I can have that same argument or complaint just around like Takeshita. Like, where's he at?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I think like he's somebody that should be like one of the flag bearers for your company and could be the guy. And they really haven't done much with him since the feud with Ospreay at last pay-per-view.
But instead, we get, at least 20 minutes of the show dedicated to responding to WWE ESPN interviews. Like, right? So instead of investing in wrestlers and storylines, we talking about, like, we making 40-year-old jokes about Triple H grinding on, his wife. And
that sounds kind of sexy, though. I ain't gonna lie.
I know y'all like that kind of shit. Y'all nasty. And
you already know. I thought you were going to say E. I thought you were going to say, hey, I wouldn't mind grinding on her. When you said grind and you kind of had that look in your eye, I was like, yeah, you want to grind too?
No. I'm not nasty. At least not on the podcast. But yeah, like they could be developed. They can be developing stories and investment, and which is what they haven't done. Like I just don't. I mean, he very well could beat them. Like right, but we haven't seen Daniel in quite some time.
Well, I think because we don't watch Collision. I think he's on Collision a lot. So I know there's somebody listening right now, like, guys, he's on
Y'all
Collision.
Stupid. Yeah, he's on here every day.
I'm sure he's on Collision. I
don't think he's had many matches on Collision. I've been seeing the lineups for him. I mean, maybe he pops in, does an interview or something like that, but he hasn't really been wrestling many matches that I don't see. I try to follow it even if I don't watch it, but
yeah, they just have to just stick to continuing to try to build their show, but it is a vastly different program than what WWE is putting out right now. Like,
and that's the thing, the way they're constructed their show. Because, like I said, like we're freaks. You got not the way. Let me take that back. I forgot my co-host.
That's Freakin Wrestling, baby.
We are wrestling fanatics.
Everybody who's listening are the freaks.
Yeah, they're the freaks.
Yeah, we are wrestling fanatics. We watch everything, right? And a lot of people just don't have time for that. And with WWE at such a high level right now, like it's very hard to watch an AEW product, especially when they have like these kind of miscues. They got a niche audience that's here for all of it. Like, so I'll bet there was probably about 500,000 people that line with the Triple H line with Will Ospreay. They're like, yeah, you get him, Will.
Absolutely.
Will, you get him.
100%.
That's what I'm
F
saying.
that guy, right?
Yeah.
F that guy, right? But but here's the thing, like that 500, the 600, the whatever number that is, you look at that attendance, they lose 1 or 2 people every week. 1 or 2 people every week. And already, we might need to talk about it maybe on another day, but it has Mercedes just turned into another wrestler on that roster.
Let's hold that off for Wednesday because we got to do our Dynasty preview. Pay-per-view is this weekend. So hold that thought because I have some thoughts on that for sure. And I'll just stop it right there because I do have thoughts. Because I could, like, say if we were, like, doing an experiment or, like, a segment, you're like, Matt, you have to argue she's not just another person. I could do that. And you say, hey, Matt, you have to argue she is just another person. And I could do that too.
Is she becoming Edge? Oh, I'm sorry, the Cope.
Let's. How about we just stop it there? How about we wrap it right there and then, because there's something else I want to talk about too with WWE that we can talk about on Wednesday's show. So we got Dynasty talk. We got, of course, we'll be watching Raw and wherever else may be coming down in the pipeline. That is it, guys. We out of here. You already plugged the socials. Y'all know where to find us. Love y'all. We are out of here. We will talk to you on Wednesday about whatever else happening. Peace.